Welcome on into the All Aussie Rules YouTube channel. We got another video coming your way today, and it's the 2025 season review for the North Melbourne Kangaroos. Another season is in the books for the Roos, and we're going to go through all their numbers, all their stats, all their games, all their best players, all their worst players, pretty much everything you need to know about the Kangaroos season as each team finishes up their season and gets knocked out. We are doing a season review, working our way through from the bottom all the way to the top. This is the third. There's already West Coast and Richmond on the channel. There's plenty more coming out over the next few weeks. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video. Let me know what you thought of the Kangaroos 2025 season. Yeah, don't forget to follow us on all the social medias, all Aussie Rules everywhere. Just search it up, you'll find us. And yeah, other than that, let's jump into this episode. Let's go through North Melbourne's 2025 season. And this is how it started, or this how it starts, I guess. I don't know why it says 0.01 draws. That's obviously one draw. 5 wins, 17 losses, one draw for the season. That's obviously me stuffing up my typing. 60% basically smack on is their percentage for the year, so not great. 16th position, another disappointing year overall. Points for 78.48, which is actually 13th in the competition, so they did outscore some teams that finished above them. Unfortunately, they conceded a lot of points. 102.83, one of only two teams that conceded more than 100 points per game throughout the season. The other one obviously being West Coast. So 17th at points against. They certainly had issues throughout the year at certain times at stopping opposition from scoring. Overall, they used 39 players for the season, which is equal fourth most in the competition. So they had plenty of players have a go out there, I guess. 7 debutants, which is equal 13th. It's quite a lot. I mean, 7's still quite a bit, but equal 13 is crazy. Like, obviously the Bombers had a lot, and there's a whole bunch of teams that had 9 or 8 debutants as well. Average age of 24.8, which is actually the second youngest team of anyone in the competition this year. The only one younger was West Coast, so blooding the youth is a positive for sure. Average experience a little bit higher at 93.91, which is 14th in the comp. Record against the top 9 was 0 wins, 10 losses, and that one draw against the Brisbane Lions. And their record against the bottom 9 actually ended up being quite good. 5 wins, 7 losses. Not great, but okay. Acceptable numbers against the bottom 9 teams. We move into game by game. Obviously, opening round, they did not start. Round 1 was a really good game. They only lost by 16 points to the Bulldogs. Not a bad start to their year, and followed it up with a really good last quarter against Melbourne to win by 59. I think they won that final quarter by about 40 odd points, 7 goals, I think. So really good performance there. Then it was a bit of a rough patch. They lost to Adelaide, Sydney, Gold Coast, Carlton, got absolutely smacked in. Basically all of them. A lot better against Port Adelaide when they only went down by 9 points at Adelaide Oval. And then should have probably beaten Essendon at Marvel Stadium, just let themselves down with finishing, and towards the end of the game just couldn't quite get a goal. Basically, then their best performance of the year against Brisbane down in Hobart, they managed to get a draw. Followed it up with a win against the Tigers the next week. Lost to Collingwood by 45 points, then had the bye. Came out of the bye with their 2 games in WA. Beating West Coast and nearly beating Fremantle. Another really good performance in round 14. Round 15, they knock off the Blues, and their mid-season looks pretty good there. They've gone 3 wins and a draw with 2 losses across a 6-match run, which is quite good. Unfortunately, right before that, they lost 6 in a row, and right after that, they lose 7 in a row. So, that's basically where they're at, I guess. They then played Hawthorn, got absolutely belted down in Tassie, beaten by Bulldogs comfortably. Melbourne was a disappointing game for them, losing by 36. Then lost to Sydney by 31, which wasn't terrible. The Geelong one was a bad one. The only 100-point loss from any team this season, 101 points they lost to Geelong by. St Kilda by 9 points, not a bad performance that one. 54 points to GWS. Then they managed to beat the Tigers down in Hobart by 48 points, which was a really good result. And then finish their year with almost an upset. They just weren't quite good enough to beat the top-ranked Adelaide Crows in that final game. 5.5 wins for the season, probably not enough when we're looking at the trajectory that we are of North Melbourne over the last few years. We did here on the channel discuss what would be a pass mark for them at the start of the year, and I was thinking probably was 7 wins. They needed a minimum of 7, so I don't think they've made it, in all honesty. I don't think this is a pass of a season. Their mid-season form was really good. There's a couple games there that they lost that they could have won. Looking at the Essendon, St Kilda games mainly, potentially Fremantle as well. But at the same time, there's also ones that they won that they could have quite easily lost. They only beat Richmond by 4 points, West Coast by 10 points. Make of it what you will, but I personally don't think this is a pass mark for them this season. I think this is another disappointing year for the Kangaroos. They do have some positive signs, but overall results is all that you can really go on. There's a lot of stats here. We're not going to go through it all. We'll highlight some of the key factors. Probably the most noteworthy thing is, this is obviously, I don't know, you might not have watched the other two, but this is the third end of season review we've done. We've done 18th West Coast, 17th Richmond, and now 16th North Melbourne. And the most notable thing, I think, with this one compared to the other two is there's actually some areas of the game where Kangaroos are actually competitive across the board, like across the season. Whereas you look at the Richmond and West Coast summaries of this sheet, at least, there's a lot of 16, 17 and 18s. You look at this one for the Kangaroos, there's a lot mid-table, and there's even some that they're quite good at. You just look at raw numbers. They're quite a high disposal getting team, so that doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things. 9th in the competition, 2nd at disposal efficiency, 8th uncontested football, 2 for centre clearances and stoppage clearances. They drop down to 6th when you compare the clearance difference per game, but the fact that they win clearances more often than they lose them across the season is a sign that their midfield works. It's just what they do in general play might be more of an issue. Accuracy, once again, they're always a very accurate team, 4th in the competition. You look at their kick-in and stoppage scoring, as well as their centre bounce. They're really good in those 3 areas. 4th, 3rd, offensively wise. Unfortunately for them, defensively wise, they also concede a lot from stoppage and from centre bounce. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword, I guess. They're good offensively out of the stoppage. When they get those clearances, they can score from them. But when they don't get the clearance and the other team does, they concede way too many from that. So defensively, they need to tighten that up. Offensively, they are really good areas of their game. So you can't really, I don't know, can you stop one without ruining the other? We'll see, but that's where they're at. Anything else that's noteworthy for the Kangaroos? 18th in the competition at intercepts at both the number and the differential, so that's not a great area of their game, which isn't that surprising, seeing they're a low-ranked team that is good out of clearance. It kind of comes hand in hand, I guess. Other than that, nothing too exciting, I don't think. They play one of the more uncontested brands of football in the competition. They played okay, but they're just not competitive across games often enough, I don't think. We'll jump into the player update. So this top bit is all the key players that have missed 5 or more games in 2025. Key players being a key word there. Key players as judged by me. I might have missed some, but I think I got them all. Darcy Tucker missed 16 games, as did Will Phillips and Zach Fisher. So those 3 were the main ones that missed a lot of football. Aidan Corr missed 13 as a key defender. Bailey Scott 11 games. Wardlaw missed 10. Luke McDonald 8. Griffin Logie 7. Nick Larkey 6. And Toby Pink 6. In comparison to the other two teams that we've done so far, I think North were a lot better off on the injury front than those teams. They suffered some big injuries to big players for long periods, or at least feels that more like that more than Kangaroos. So that's how I see it. Down the bottom is the players that are missing. So they're the ones that played in 2024 that are no longer there. There were a bunch of delistings, but we ignored those. They didn't lose anyone to other clubs. They did lose Hugh Greenwood, Liam Shields, and Jaden Stevenson all to retirement, though. None of those three were groundbreaking over the last couple of seasons. So obviously Liam Shields, a lot older, spent most of his career elsewhere before coming to the Kangaroos last year. Moving into position by position. We'll start in the back line as we normally do. We do a rating for every single player, every single game, and that's where we get this All Aussie Rules rating. And obviously you can see 2025 rating and rank compared to their 24 rating and rank. Starting general defenders, Caleb Daniel obviously came across from the Bulldogs this year, and his rating went up. Last year he was more of a outside mid, sometimes forward, sometimes backman. The Bulldogs really didn't know what to do with him last season, but he certainly, full-time general defender this year, was a lot better. His rating went up +8, 23rd best in the competition in terms of general defenders, so a pretty solid season from him. Colby McKercher, slightly lower than last year in terms of rank and rating, so maybe that's due to Caleb Daniel getting that bit more time back there, and maybe the one they go through a little bit more often. Luke McDonald's numbers pretty similar to last year, slightly up. Riley Hardiman was unranked last year, but this year played 17 games and showed enough to be in as that fourth general defender, I guess. Pretty solid without breaking the world. Finn O'Sullivan, first year player, played 22 out of 23 games. What we saw this year, when he was good, he was really good. He's quiet in games at times, but I think as he gets more accustomed to it, more pre-seasons under his belt, he's shown enough signs that he will be a good enough player to be in your best 22. Darcy Tucker played just the 7 games. His rating was down on last year, which wasn't fantastic last year. Zach Fisher, he missed quite a lot of football as well. He missed 16 games. His rating well down. He was 36th best general defender last year. 7 games and was unranked this year, but his rating down 15 points. Suggests that if he can get his game back amongst some of these other players improving, maybe it will look okay back there. Jackson Archer played just the 3 games. His rating very similar to last year's. Key defenders, this is what I personally think is their biggest issue across the board. Aidan Corr, 10 matches, ranked 39th as a key defender. They just don't really have anyone that you could claim is a genuine number 1 key defender on their list. They have 4 players there that played a lot of football, and all 4 of them are probably at best second key defender on most teams, at best. Probably third key defender. So they need someone to stand up and take that role of number 1 key defender and just run with it and take it to the next level. At the moment, they're struggling to find that. So Griffin Logue was 16 games, slightly down on last year's numbers, but he didn't play much last year, so take that how you will. Charlie Comben, last year was really good. It looked like he was an up-and-coming player. This year, played 20 matches and he dropped off quite a bit, in my opinion, down 12 points. Down from 16th best key defender to 49th is not a great trajectory. Hopefully he can bounce back next season. Toby Pink, very similarly rated to last year, slightly up, but very low. in comparison to other players. Will Dawson played the 5 games, nothing too special. Callan Dawson 3 games, and Matt Whitlock, who obviously they went after, gave up a draft pick for this year. Their number 1 draft pick for this year. They've given up to get this guy, so we'll see how he goes in the future, but he's got big shoes to fill, I guess. Moving into the forward line, I did the same thing I did last time. General forwards, Paul Curtis was clearly their best and their brightest spark this season. He went from 58th best general forward last year up to 10th best this year. His form throughout most of the season was really good, but he looks like he's taken that next step. I would expect that if he can continue to do that next season, there's no reason he can't go up even higher to maybe a rating of 54, 55-ish would be a really high rating as a general forward. Cameron Zurhaar, slightly down on last year. Not terrible, just a couple points, but a couple points could be a couple goals throughout a season. So not terrible, but good. Cooper Harvey, 7 games, all late in the season. His rating isn't high. It's nothing special, nothing to write home about, but in a team that struggles to score at times, maybe these are the players that need to take that next step. Jacob Constanti came across from Sydney where he wasn't getting a game. Played 23 games. Occasionally had some highlights here and there, but I think throughout the season we just didn't see him contribute often enough. Robert Hansen Jr. played a variety of positions, whether it was wing, general forward. Didn't see much of him that suggested that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, but maybe with some development we'll see. Zane Dersma played the 10 games, was rated even lower than last year. Geordie Payne, 3 matches, pretty solid without doing anything too exciting. Zach Branch, 4 matches, unranked. We didn't see enough to have too much of a comment on him, I don't think. Key forwards, this is the position that maybe they have almost the most depth outside of inside mids. Nick Larkey, another really fine season from him, 17 matches, slightly higher rated than last year, 12th best key defender, which in a team that's not winning many games is pretty solid. Jack Darling's rating actually was slightly better than last year. Still nowhere near his best he's ever had, but as that second key forward, I think they're pretty solid numbers, in all honesty. And that key forward role is not their biggest issue. It might be going forward because obviously Larky's been around a little bit now. Jack Darling's probably heading close to the end of his career. But they've tried out a couple. Cooper Trembath played late season. Showed some pretty solid signs. Like his rating there looks really good. I wouldn't read too much into that, but he showed some good signs. And Finbar Maley, he played 7 games throughout mostly the middle of the season and didn't blow us away. He had certainly some good moments, and I think with some development, he could be someone that takes that role as your second or third key forward. Moving into the midfield, we got Luke Davies-Yanaki was their number 1 rated inside mid this year. Slightly lower ranked than last year. He's gone from a 68 basically down to a 63. 14th best in 24 to 23rd best this year. Still very solid numbers. Just dropped off a little bit. Same can be said for Harry Sheasel. He went from the 8th best last year. He was probably spent more time midfield this year than he did last year, where he was still rated as an inside mid, but he did spend a lot of time general defending last year, whereas this year it was basically full-time inside mid. And his rating went down from a 72.4 down to a 60.5, which suggests that it was a pretty tough season for him. I don't think he was bad by any stretch of the imagination. I just think last year he was really good. This year he was good without being that really good. I think we'll see him bounce back next year. He obviously had a game where he had 54 touches this year. He's very important for them, and he will continue to be very important for the Kangaroos. Jai Simkin had a good year, slightly higher rated than last year. As your third midfielder, he's a pretty solid player. Luke Parker, first year for the Kangaroos after obviously not getting that much game time last year with the Swans. I think he showed some really good numbers throughout this year. He was rated 48th best inside mid in the competition throughout the year. George Wardlaw slightly behind him, slightly off what he managed last year, George. So slightly down. I wouldn't be too fussed about that. He did miss a little bit of football, played just the 13 games. I think probably next year is the year that he pushes that rating up a little bit more. They have a lot of young talent in this inside midfield, and they have the potential to have the best inside midfield in the competition if these players can all reach the heights that maybe we expect them to. Tom Powell, very similar numbers to last year, around that 50 rating mark. Will Phillips, he's slightly down as a depth player. He's not too bad, but he's not going to be your gun inside mid, or at this point at least, definitely not. Outside mids, they had two players that played this role mainly over anywhere else. Dylan Stevens, rated higher than last year, went from a 32.8 to a 37.9, so a pretty decent improvement from him. 34th best outside mid, in the competition this year. Bailey Scott, 12 matches. Last year he was more of the general defender. This year he moved up the ground a little bit at times. His rating certainly didn't get helped by that move. Rucks, they had the number one rated ruck in the competition this year. Last year he was number 2. This year he was number 1. Potentially, off the top of my head, I think he might have been the second highest rated player in the competition throughout the year. And yeah, just another fantastic year from Tristan Xerri. You know what you're going to get from him, and that's a contest. Every single possession, every single time he's out there, you're going to get a contest. They had two other ruckmen kind of play. Obviously, Xerri missed a few games through suspension towards the end of the year. Bryn Teakle played 4 games, ranked pretty high, pretty okay, without setting the world alight. Unranked this year. Rating is higher than last year, but that's because he played ruck this time. And Callum Coleman-Jones only managed like 2 minutes, so we don't have too much to say about him. Moving into our little summary of positions. For those that are new around here, we do a little rating system that puts them into classes. Top 10% of each position is elite. From 10 to 25% is top class. 25 to 40 is above average. 40 to 60 is average, and then 60 to 100 is below average. Anyone that's played less than 50% game time, I'm terrible at explaining this. If you haven't played at least 5 games of at least 50% game time, then you are unranked. That's what I was trying to say. So there's a few of them as well on this list. But elite-wise, Kangaroos have 2. That's 2 more than both West Coast and Richmond combined. So they have some positives. One was a general forward. One, obviously, was the ruck, Tristan Xerri. 3 top-class players this year, an inside mid, a key forward, and a general defender. So they're getting some decent variety around positions. Above average, they had 3 more. So they have a total of 8 players in that above average or better category. And only 13, though, in average or better. So 13 players in the top 60% of their position, which probably just isn't quite enough. You look at where they're struggling the most, it's key defenders. They've got 4 players that are all rated in that below average category. General defenders, they're okay. General forwards, maybe they need 1 or 2 more up into the average or better category, but at least they have someone that was elite. Key forwards, they're doing okay. Inside mids, I think everyone in that average or better category is certainly capable of being in the elite and top class, so I think they're pretty good there. Outside mids, they need a bit of work on. Obviously, Tristan Xerri in the ruck is outstanding. So that's just a little list analysis, I guess, of where they're at and where their players were at this season. Final slide to look at is the best and fairest. So if you're new around here, every single game, the top 5 players from every team get votes. If you're in the winning team, you get 10, 8, 6, 4, 2 for the top 5 players. If you're in the losing team, it goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. In draws, it's 7.56, 4.53, and 1.5 votes. That all goes in. It goes towards the All Aussie Rules MVP, which if you check out the podcast this week, we do announce who won that one. And it also goes towards the club best and fairest. No surprise here, Tristan Cherry is number 1. 92.5 votes for the season. Luke Davies-Yanaki, 51 in second. Harry Sheasel, 50 in third. Colby McKercher, 37. Luke Parker, 36.5. Jai Simpkin, 34.5. Tom Powell, 31. Caleb Daniel, 27. Paul Curtis, the most unlucky bloke ever. He definitely deserved more than that, 19. And I think in their actual best and fairest, he will be the one on this list that rates a lot higher than that. I would expect he will be definitely top 5. He might even go close to top 3. Potentially, Nick Larkey, 10. Charlie Comben is in 11th with 9, as is George Wardlaw. Britton Tinkle is 13 with 5 votes. Riley Hardman next with 4. And then Griffin Logue and Jack Darling equal 15th with 3 votes. So that's the top 15 for the best and fairest based on the All Aussie Rules MVP rating system. And that's the Kangaroos pretty much wrapped up. I don't know what else to say about them. They had another disappointing season. We wanted to see at least 7 wins. We didn't get that from them. It's a big off season for them this year, I think. These mids need to go to that next level as a group. They're pretty good, but they have that ability to go even bit better, I think. But they also need to find a way to either develop the key defenders they've got to take another step, because that's a big issue for them at the moment. Or they need to find some key defenders and get them in that can do the job, because that I think is their biggest issue. Let me know in the comments if you agree with me, or if you disagree, let me know as well. That was Kangaroos. We've got plenty more end of season reviews to do. There'll be plenty more coming out over the following weeks. Don't forget, there's 2 podcast episodes every week. Monday's episode each week looks at the men's competition. Thursday episode each week looks at the AFLW. So stick around, hit that subscribe button. Let me know if you like the video. We've got plenty more coming your way. So don't forget to come back. That's it. I'm Jay. This is All Aussie Rules. Catch us on the next one.